This is K.M. Weiland, and you're listening to the 35th episode of the Wordplay Podcast. It's no secret that I feel incredibly blessed to get to wake up every morning and go to work doing what I love best, which, of course, is this crazy writing business. It hit me afresh this week how incredibly lucky writers are. We carry that magic of childhood wonder and curiosity and imagination with us all our lives. There's that special inner part of us that never has to grow up, that never has to stop pretending. Someone asked me something about people growing out of their imaginations, and I got to tell them, making pretend is my life. We writers get to live a marvelously broad existence. We aren't chained to one life. Our minds are supersonic jets, spaceships, time travel machines that can hurtle us into 100 different adventures. It's something I never take for granted. I wake up every morning and thank God for an imagination unruly enough to survive beyond childhood. I've added a new feature to my blog this week. In addition to my weekly written posts and podcasts, I'm adding a midweek video series. These short, 2 minutes or less, videos will feature the lessons I've learned from my own reading, in the interest of helping us all learn from the work of other authors. We learn from reading the works of others, both the mind-blowing ones and the mind-numbing ones. As lovers of stories, writers should perforce be avid readers, sucking in all kinds of lessons through sheer osmosis. The first video episode, How to Make Your Prose Sing, is now available on my blog at wordplay-kmwyland, that's weiland.blogspot.com. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this new venture. Let me know what I'm doing right and what I can be doing better, and be sure to tell me about any topics you'd particularly like me to feature, or books you'd like me to report on. Meanwhile, enjoy this week's podcast. Are you using your setting to deepen your characters? Depending on the type of story you write, the setting may be little more than an afterthought, an arbitrary decision made simply because your characters have to live somewhere. In the best of stories, however, setting is an inherent key in bringing to life not just the scenery, but the characters themselves. As such, it isn't something we can afford to overlook. Your answers to the following questions may show you the weak points in your setting construction and help you to use it to its full potential. 1. Is your setting inherent to your story? In some stories, the setting is so important to the story that to change it would mean changing the entire plot. In Empire of the Sun, J.G. Ballard's novelization of his boyhood in a Japanese POW camp during World War II, the setting, first in Shanghai and then in the civilian prisoner camp, cannot possibly be separated from the story itself. It's the power of the unique setting and the vivid word pictures in which Ballard paints it that makes this book breathe. In contrast, the sequel, The Kindness of Women, which takes place when the author here was a grown man living in England, fails to share the original strong sense of place, and as a result never comes close to the same power. 2. How does your character view his setting? In her book Right Away, best-selling mystery author Elizabeth George points out that, through a character's environment, you show who he is. Fellow mystery author Michael Connelly, in an interview with Jeff Ayers, concurred. You are always looking for ways to deliver character to your reader. One of the most important and ready ways of doing that is through the character's interaction with his or her city, because he is really contemplating himself. 3. Are your characters experiencing the setting with all their senses? Utilize all 5 of your character's senses to bring the setting to life. Random details of description, no matter how beautifully pinned, don't matter to the story unless they are filtered through the character's individual experience. The heat of a summer day doesn't matter until the character is the one feeling it. The sound of the telephone ringing only makes a difference if the character hears it. The whisper of jasmine in the air is pointless, unless it has meaning for the character who smells it. 4. Does your setting affect the mood? Setting, more than any other facet of the story, allows us the most flexibility for creating mood and pacing. The ominous thunderheads gathering above the protagonist's cornfield, the forbidding chill of the abandoned shack on the side of the road, the stuffy air inside a funeral home, all these bits of setting serve to inform the reader of the mood you're trying to strike. Choose your settings carefully. Don't settle for the obvious answers. Look beyond cliches and examine the needs of your story to find the most appropriate setting. Then juice it for every drop of usefulness. If you can bring the setting to life as a character in its own right, you'll be that much closer to creating a story your readers will never forget. Thank you for listening to the Wordplay Podcast. To read a transcript of this episode, visit me on the web at wordplay-camwyland, that's weiland.blogspot.com, and be sure to listen again next week.